every multicolor printer on this list claims to be fast, easy, and clean. Reviewers who actually tested all 5 do not agree with all 5 of them. So today we are counting down the 5 best multicolor 3D printers of 2026. Based on independent testing, not manufacturer marketing. And the printer that ends up at number 1 is not the cheapest, and it is not the fastest on paper. It is the one that changed how multicolor printing actually works. We'll get there. Links to all 5 are in the description. If you use them, I earn a small fee at no extra cost to you. Quickly, most multicolor printers share one nozzle between every color. That means every color change flushes the old filament out before the new one goes in. The amount that gets flushed and how fast is most of what separates a good multicolor printer from a bad one. There is a second thing worth knowing before we start. Every printer here also claims some kind of automatic calibration, so the bed levels itself before every print. That sounds like a small feature. In practice, it is the difference between a printer you fight with and one you don't. 5 printers claim to have solved both problems well. Independent reviewers tested those claims. Here is what they actually found. At number 5, the Creality SparkX i7 Combo. Tom's Hardware currently names this its pick for best beginner multicolor printer. Creality built the CFS Lite system around one idea, less to think about. It reads and syncs filament information to the slicer automatically, one click. Creality claims 50% less waste and 15% better efficiency on color switches. Setup is rated at under 5 minutes, with 0 assembly required out of the box. Bed leveling, nozzle offset, and input shaping all run through a single tap calibration. Real-time pressure advanced technology is built in too, which Creality says reduces stringing and ooze between color changes. The build volume is 260 by 260 by 255 millimeters, on the larger side for this list. That is large enough for a full-size model in one piece, where a smaller printer would need it split and glued. It also includes an AI camera that watches for spaghetti failures, tangled filament, and entanglement in real time. There's also a feature called CubeMe, which turns a photo into a small 3D model automatically. A nice extra for gifts, not the reason to buy it. Verdict: if this is your first multicolor printer, this is the one built to remove decisions, not add them. Number 4, the Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2 Combo, and this is the value pick. TechRadar named it their best budget multicolor printer of 2026. It is fully enclosed, which most printers at this price are not. An enclosure holds chamber heat steady, and steady heat is what tougher filaments need. The canvas system handles 4 color switching with automatic filament and tangle detection built in. Elegoo describes this as printing across a wide range of materials, from basic to engineering grade, through the same temperature-controlled process. Speed is rated at 500 mm per second, with 20,000 mm per second squared acceleration. The nozzle runs up to 350 degrees, opening the door to engineering-grade materials most budget printers can't touch. Elegoo's own pitch for this one is simplicity: load the filament, tap print and walk away, with automated calibration and monitoring handling the rest. The frame is rigid aluminum paired with the CoreXY motion system, which is what keeps a fast print from wobbling into a blurry one. Reviewers praised the print quality. Some owners have flagged the clog clearing process as fiddly, since the filament hub uses collets tight enough that clearing a jam means removing the whole hub. Verdict: the most enclosed printer for the money on this list if you plan to print more than basic PLA. At number 3, the Bambu Lab P2S Combo, and this is the current generation of Bambu's bestseller. Tom's Hardware called it their new benchmark. Quote, "This is the new standard other printers will be measured against." The AMS2 Pro is the real upgrade here. It actively dries filament up to 65 degrees. That matters because damp filament is one of the most common causes of a failed print. An adaptive airflow system switches between cooling overhangs and holding chamber heat automatically, based on what the current layer actually needs. Bambu says that system alone is what makes engineering filaments genuinely usable in this printer, not just technically supported. The extruder is a servo motor, not a stepper, which Bambu says improves layer consistency and corner sharpness. Failure detection runs through an AI camera watching the print in real time, not just a filament sensor. Setup is rated at 15 minutes, and nozzles are quick swap, no tools required. Reviewers note this replaces Bambu's own previous generation printer, not just competes with it. Buying the older model today means knowingly buying the previous generation. Verdict: if you want the most complete, most refined ecosystem on this list, this is it. Number 2, the Anycubic Kobra X, and this is where the numbers get hard to ignore. Tom's Hardware gave this their editor's choice for best budget printer of 2026. It ships with 4 colors built in, expandable up to 19. Anycubic states it cuts filament and travel path by 81.25%. In Tom's Hardware's own time test, it swapped colors in about 35 seconds. On the same test, a competing AM-style system took 90 seconds or more per swap. Bed leveling runs a 49-point calibration routine before every print, which Anycubic says guarantees full bed flatness without any manual adjustment. The nozzle is hardened steel, rated for materials up to 300 degrees, including LA, PTG, TPU, PVA, and ASA. It also includes camera monitoring that watches for foreign objects and print failures, controllable remotely through the Anycubic app. Connectivity runs on dual-band Wi-Fi, both 2.4 and 5 GHz, plus a wired LAN option for a more stable connection. One thing worth knowing, not every reviewer agrees on how little it wastes. TechRadar's own test noted more purge waste than expected, even though Tom's Hardware measured the opposite. We're not hiding that disagreement from you. Verdict: the strongest price-to-performance printer on this list, with genuinely fast, independently timed color swapping. Which brings us to number 1, the Snapmaker U1. Every other printer on this list shares one nozzle between colors. That single design choice is where the purging comes from. Change color, flush the nozzle. Snapmaker did not optimize that process, they removed it. The U1 has 4 completely independent tool heads, 1 per color. Each one stays preloaded and preheated, ready to go. Changing color does not mean flushing anything, it means swapping the tool head. Snapmaker calls the system SnapSwap, and Tom's Hardware clocked the swap at 5 seconds. On a 90 swap, 3-color print, it beat a comparable AMS-style printer by 3 hours. Because each toolhead is separate, it also prints materials most printers on this list cannot mix. It combines rigid and flexible filament and water-soluble supports in a single job, a hard frame and a soft grip printed together in one run. That also means overhangs and interior cavities that would normally need to be redesigned can just be printed as is, with the support dissolved away afterward. Motion runs on a rigid CoreXY system with carbon fiber X-axis rails, rated at 500 mm per second while holding accuracy. Calibration is automatic too. Toolhead offset, vibration compensation, and first layer fine-tuning all run without manual input. Tom's Hardware gave it their editor's choice, calling it, quote, the machine we've been waiting for. Verdict: the only printer on this list that solved the waste problem at its source, not around it. So that is the countdown based on what independent reviewers actually found. Number 1 goes to the Snapmaker U1 because it changed the mechanism, not just the marketing. If you are just starting out, the SparkX i7 is still the easiest on-ramp. If you want the most complete ecosystem, the Bambu P2S is the safe, refined choice. Links to all 5 are in the description. If you use them, I earn a small fee at no extra cost to you. Which one surprised you most? Tell me in the comments.